You're listening to The Ultimate Rewrite, where my mission is to empower women and men alike to start on their healing journey to become the most authentic version of themselves. If you're feeling lost, or you're someone who struggles to navigate daily life, you're in the right place, baby. Hey guys! Thanks for tuning in to The Ultimate Rewrite, episode 3, The Invisible Pressure to Stay Small. So I didn't realize how much my personality was shaped by making other people comfortable until I started making choices that didn't. And you're probably like, Heidi, what are you even talking about when you say shrinking? It's a good question, because shrinking isn't always obvious. It doesn't always look like staying silent, not chasing your dreams, staying small in your relationships, whether that be with romantic partners or friends or family. Have you ever chosen to be easygoing, to go with the flow so that you don't make other people uncomfortable? It's people pleasing. It's making yourself smaller. It's shrinking. Have you ever talked so much that you talk in circles, over explaining your choices to other people who really don't even deserve an explanation? Have you ever stayed in relationships or in rooms that you feel that you're outgrowing, but you never leave because you're too comfortable? Because leaving feels hurtful or disruptive or safe? This one's my favorite. Have you ever edited your entire personality to match up with the person that you're dating? Spoiler alert, I have. So yeah, my whole dating life I've been doing this. But why do we do this shit? Well, you're welcome. I did the research for us because I just told you that I'm learning too, okay? I'm not a professional. Just another lost in the sauce lady trying to figure it out in real time for y'all. If you want to know the answer to this, it's because shrinking yourself is socially rewarded. Plain and simple. Society labels the easygoing people pleasers as low maintenance, chill, easy to be around. But underneath it all, we're spiraling. We're overthinking. We're suppressing. And maybe if you're like me, you're outgrowing your life. This invisible, but ever so loud pressure to stay small surrounds us in today's society. But it's subtle, especially for women, or especially for people who feel deeply, are empathetic, are caregivers, and also are high functioning. I don't know how it was for y'all, but for me, growing up in school, in my environment, I was taught to not be too much, don't be too emotional, don't be too ambitious, unless it was convenient for others. Don't disrupt the dynamic. Don't cause problems. Personal segue, I have this home video from when I was about maybe 2 or 3, and my sister might have been 7 or 8. And we're outside playing in the snow, and my dad's behind the camcorder in the 90s. And my mom had stuffed me, just like the Christmas Story. I couldn't move because my snowsuit was just completely immobilizing me. And I had fallen over, and my sister was trying to help me up. But, a 7-year-old helping a 2-year-old doesn't really do much. And my dad is behind the camera, chuckling to himself, making the comment, "Don't be such a baby." I was quite literally a baby. But that mentality of don't be too much, don't be too emotional, that started when I was a kid. That started that early, on accident, but it did. So in adulthood, or if you're lucky in teenagehood, you might actually realize that you are starting to shrink yourself at the convenience of others, pleasing everyone around you, but also making you inherently unhappy. And when you acknowledge that, immediately people start to get uncomfortable. You get questioned or judged, and you may even start second guessing yourself. But Heidi, how do I push past that if everyone around me wants me to stay the same, wants me to stay small? It's your life, damn it. Be in charge of it. Me? I lived a life where my sole purpose was to impress others. Get a big home to impress others. Find a husband to impress others. Start a big family to impress others. Truly, that was the mindset that I was raised on. To acquire everything that everyone else has. That was my goal. But was it my goal? So how do I combat that now, having realized that I was living a life that wasn't even truly my own? Well, I made a list for you. Within the next 5 years, I'm looking to do 5 things. 1, I'm gearing up to leave a stable, respectable career that doesn't pay what I need to thrive. It pays what I need to survive. 2, I'm questioning long-held belief systems that I was raised in and that a lot of this country still holds true. 3, I'm speaking openly and honestly about anxiety and mental health, which is still asinine, but looked down upon in this day and age. I'm building something public between my podcast, my vlog, my content, which, by the way, is the devil's work. To air your dirty laundry, that's a big no-no. And 5, I'm physically moving across the entire country so that I can remove my distractions and start fresh without all of these distractions and these tendencies to shrink myself. Bye. Okay, that's not a small shift. And now, do you need to completely uproot your life and do what I'm doing? No. But I still want to be there for you as an example so that you can follow suit in however way you deem possible for your life. But for me, I got a full identity rewrite. If I may, the ultimate rewrite at that. Okay, but ready? Here's where that shrinking will try to creep in. Am I being dramatic? What if this doesn't work? What are people going to think? Should I tone this down? But see, that's not logic. That's conditioning. And all of these reasons is why, if I'm being completely honest with you, this past week was exceptionally rough for me. I posted on Instagram another video of me just crying and yapping about how this fucking sucks, how life is not what I expected it to turn out to be. I have so much going on in my brain between the reworking, the rewiring, on top of making a move across the country, maybe possibly turning my content journey into a career, and making sure that I'm taking the very best steps for myself to ensure my future happiness, because that's the priority. But I'll tell you right now, it's over freaking whelming, all of these changes. But now the question of all questions, why do we even shrink in the first place? And I'll tell you, it's rooted in 3 things. 1 is safety. At some point, you were taught that being smaller was accepted, and that's where your mentality is stuck. 2, predictability. That goes hand in hand with safety. A lot of people choose what they know because it's safe. That's the safe route. They know what to expect. I know that my salary is going to be coming in twice a month. It will be this much, not a penny more, not a penny less. And consistency is safe. It's structured, it's known, it's explainable, it's not stressful. But if it doesn't fit, if it doesn't align, if you feel even a slight discomfort in the life choices that you've made thus far, I've found that it's worth it to be honest and vulnerable, to build a life that isn't necessarily defined, but one that is visibly leading to happiness. And then number 3, belonging. I think this is the kicker for most of us. A lot of us believe that if you change too much, you risk losing too much. Like your relationships, your identity, your familiarity. So truth be told, in documenting my big move from New York State to California, I've been recording all of the anticipation and the aftermath of telling some of my conservative family and friends about my big move to Libland, as they call it. And to me, it was quite a feat to try to gain that courage to bring myself to tell them that I'm trying to rediscover who I am through this healing and growth journey. And you can very blatantly see in those before videos, before I stepped into the home, when I'm sitting in my car, just how anxious and nervous I was to deliver the news to these people. And it's not that I was scared of judgment. It's more that I was afraid I was going to lose them. And you might think, well, fuck them, lose them. Okay, but like, this is my mother, my father, my sister, my best friends. It's not that easy to just be like, okay, bye. But just as an example, I did have one relative respond with, okay, Hyde, just tuning into those intrusive thoughts and just going with it. And I'm like, thinking to myself, yeah, they have been pretty intrusive for like a decade, my girl. So yeah, I do feel like I have to do the damn thing for me. And you should too, babes. But here's the problem. There's a cost to staying small. That's the part that people don't talk about enough. When you stay small for as long, let's say as I have, 34 years, you don't just feel stuck. Okay. You start to feel like disconnected from yourself. You start having this innate sense of resentment, even if you don't say it out loud. I'll tell you right now, if you're not sure if you're filled with resent, think about that anger that we talked about in episode 1. Angry for no reason, you're probably holding on to some resentment. You also might start to feel anxious for, I don't know, for what reason? You don't know. Well, it's because you're not living your truth. You might start to feel like you're living adjacent or next to your life. For example, I felt truly like I was in a daze leading up to my wedding. There are actual pictures and video evidence that I took of myself the month before my wedding saying, this is not what I want for my life. This is not what I want for my marriage. Should have listened to my intuition. Speaking of that, always listen to your gut. Always follow your intuition. So how do we step away from living small to expand ourselves? It's simple. You give yourself the room to grow and be who you are. But please don't get it twisted. I don't want you to look at me and think, oh, she has all this confidence. She has it all figured out. She never feels any doubt. Because I hope that you realize that doubt literally lives rent-free in my brain. Day in and day out, I have to constantly muster enough energy to push out those negative thoughts. And then to say things before I even feel 100% ready. For example, I'm moving to California. And I don't think you guys actually understand how big of a deal this is. Almost my entire family, on both my mom's side and my dad's side, have always lived in Buffalo. There is one singular cousin from each side of my family that have just in the past 2 years only decided to branch out and leave New York State. One went to Tennessee, one went to Texas. Me, I have lived nowhere but Buffalo and my podunk college town 50 minutes outside of Buffalo, which doesn't count. But I'm out of here. And yeah, I'm making decisions that people don't fully understand. And I know that these people are seeing me in this new and maybe in their minds negative way. But guess what? I can't control that. I am finally allowing my life to look different than what others have expected of me. But why is different always seen as scary? I'm choosing this for me because it's my life. It's now or never. I'm gonna live forever. Bro, every episode exposes me for the millennial that I am. I swear to God, I gotta chill. Sorry, bringing it back. All I know is, even though people may not get it right away, and then I'm not gonna have the constant validation that I always had, I know that this is the most crucial time in my life that I choose myself over and over again. And I want you guys to use me as an example of living your truth, doing the opposite of shrinking. What I, and likely you if you're listening, have done your entire life. Do you know what the opposite of shrinking is? Growth. I do hope that you guys continue to tune in to my cringy Buffalo accented life documentation of how I'm unlearning toxic patterns that most definitely have never served me or contributed to my happiness, so that I can build my new life out loud from scratch. But what I hope for the most, if you feel this burning desire to live your truth, I hope you choose to act on it. It's okay to feel both excited and terrified, aligned and uncertain, proud and guilty. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It actually means you're learning how to balance your identity. You're stretching beyond your old identity, removing the parts of you that were set there by expectations, and keeping the parts that are actually you, babe. And here's the truth of it all. You're not actually becoming someone new. You're stopping the habit of making yourself smaller to fit places you've already outgrown. At least that's what I'm doing. Because even though it's already messy and emotional and non-linear, I feel more fulfilled. I feel more aligned. I feel freer to be who God truly created me to be. And I want that for you. Real quick, don't forget my anxious honeys that I uploaded a downloadable PDF titled My 5-Minute Panic Reset Toolkit. It's located on my link tree in my bio on my socials, but also no stress. It's linked right here, just for anybody who needs a quick fix. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this 3rd episode of my podcast, The Ultimate Rewrite. This is H-Dubs with You Are signing off. Just remember that you are incredible and you are worthy of all the happiness and goodness that is coming your way, so long as you're willing to put in the work. Tune in next week when I talk about how shrinking myself revealed itself as anxiety in my day-to-day. And realizing that I don't just have a sensitive personality, but that my nervous system was literally living in overdrive for years. I can't wait to see y'all on my socials. Mwah!
This episode is sponsored by... Just kidding. I'm too new. Tell your friends, though.